I've been told that we've reached a quorum, and as soon as the four counters are sworn in, we'll start. But a couple of quick questions and protocol. I'm going to ask that everybody please either shut off your cell phones or silence them. I know we have a lot of parents here, so if you get a call in, it'll be through vibrations on your cell phones. My job is to move this as quickly and as smoothly as we can so that we can get out of here in a very timely manner, and it's just going to hopefully be one night. Yes. All right. Can everybody hear me all the way to the back? Okay. Are you ready? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
We just drafted our four counters. We just drafted our four counters, and I don't want to have to go and find them all again. I just want to say Mary Ellen McDonald and Mary Ellen Miles is doing this side, and Jerry Robertson and Mo Lavasser are doing that side. That's just information they need to know so they know who they're looking for. All right? Thank you.
All right. Having that we retained a quorum, I call this town meeting to order. And I would like to invite Reverend Bob up for the invocation, please. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good evening, everyone. I think we should all be grateful for our freedom to be able to gather like this and to be able to conduct the business of our community. It's so important. It's part of our democracy. And I thank you all for taking the time out this evening to be here, to be part of this. Let us now ask the blessing of our Creator upon our gathering here tonight. Source of all life, we thank you for this life that we share together, this journey in this wonderful place, this home we call Rowley. As we are gathered here tonight, we are mindful of all those who have gone before us, of all the other town meetings that have happened, going back to the founding of our community in 1639. We were founded on faith, on trust, on cooperation and harmony, on dialogue and debate. We come together to seek the wisdom, the collective wisdom of our people here. And, O Creator, we ask your blessing upon our efforts. We ask for you to grant us wisdom and energy and the spirit of community so that we may work together always for the good of our people, of our families, of our elders and our children, of all who call Rowley home. We thank you and pray always in your holy name. Amen. Thank you.
We'll all stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are some seats down here in front. There's plenty of chairs that just have to be taken off the rack in the back. And my role here as moderator is to run town meeting. The special that is in your packet is to finish off any bills and stuff for FY17, and the regular meeting is to set the budget for FY18. So with that being done, we will start by reading of the warrant.
Madam Moderator,
Yes.
I move to allow non-resident town employees, local and state officials, and department heads to speak, if called upon, during the May 1st, 2017 special town meeting. These individuals are seated against the wall on the right side of the room as you face the stage and on the stage, and who will now raise their hands.
Second.
All those in favor of letting non-residents, when it needed to be, to get up and speak, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? carries. You want to start reading the, now you want to start reading? Okay.
Yeah. No, well, yeah.
For him to do it. I know.
Town of Rowley, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for annual town meeting, annual.
Special.
Special. Other book, sorry.
Sorry, special town meeting. May 1st, 2017. To the constables in the town of Rowley and the county of Essex, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Rowley qualified to vote in elections and town affairs to meet in the Pine Grove School, 191 Main Street, Route 1A, on Monday, 1st of May, 2017, at 7 p.m. Then and there to act on the following articles.
Madam Moderator,
Yes.
I move to suspend further reading of the May 1st, 2017 special town meeting warrant because present town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second?
Everybody has brought their warrant or picked up a copy off the desk with, the front when they checked in. So all those in favor of suspending the reading of the special warrant signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Guys have it. 7:13. Okay. Special. Okay. Article 1 is to hear and act upon any of the commissions and boards at any time during this meeting. Article 2.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to suspend in the town meeting the application of Section 19 and Section 20 of the town meeting bylaw pertaining to the reconsideration of all money articles. Such suspension intended for the specific purpose to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, so called, and to give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting, and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second?
Are there any, are there any questions on this article? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The article carries.
7:14.
Article 3.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $5,000 from line 154, unemployment, of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of May 2nd, 2016, to be added to line number 8, selectmen's expense, of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of May 2nd, 2016, to pay for the expenses incurred to hold the May 1, 2017 annual and special town meeting.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Are there any questions? All those in favor of Article 3 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The article passes.
7:15.
Article 4 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $15,946 from line 93, Whittier Volk Assessment, of Article 5 of the May 2nd, 2016 annual town meeting, and to transfer and appropriate the sum of $2,692 from the sale of town property account, for a total transfer of $18,638 to line 97, Essex Aggie Technical School, of Article 5 of the May 2nd, 2016 town meeting, and to cover a shortfall in this line.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 4? All those in favor of Article 4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 4 carries.
7:16.
Article 5 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer the sum of $3,612 from line 154 unemployment of Article 5 of the May 2nd, 2016 annual town meeting to line 120 Eastern Essex Veterans District of Article 5 of the May 2nd, 2016 annual town meeting to cover the fiscal year 2017 shortfall in the budget line. As an explanation, this is the Eastern Essex Veterans District. The assessment in the era of the town, we were undercharged for the full assessment.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and second. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Any questions on Article 5? All those in favor of Article 5 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 5 carries. Article 6 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town to vote to transfer appropriate the sum of $10,000 from free cash to pay for the town's shortfall in the fiscal year 2016 Eastern Essex Veterans District assessment.
Second.
Before you do the explanation, I'm going to ask the Finance Committee recommendation.
Okay.
Okay, Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay, now you can do, you want to do your
Okay.
explanation?
Yes, the district was undercharged the town's assessment by $10,000, and again, this is for the veterans, and so this goes, all the towns put money into this, into the Essex Veterans District. So this is a shortfall that has to be made up, so that's why for the $10,000.
Are there any questions on Article 6? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 6 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 6 passes. Article 7 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $19,729 from line 13, Collective Bargaining Reserve of Article 5 of the May 2nd, 2016 Annual Town Meeting to be used to cover anticipated cost items for the Massachusetts Coalition of Police Local 360 Collective Bargaining Agreement.
Second.
Okay, Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
By way of explanation, these funds were budgeted in fiscal year 2017 in anticipation of funding a successor agreement with the Massachusetts Coalition of Police Local Union. Negotiations for that agreement are ongoing, so passage of this article would preserve these funds for appropriation in FY 2016.
Are there any questions on this article? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 7 passes. Article 8 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $20,070 from Article 16 of the May 4th, 2015 special town meeting to be used by the highway surveyor towards the purchase of a utility tractor.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any explanation, or is Joe?
Patrick.
Is Patrick going to get up? All right, are there any questions? Seeing there's no questions, all those in favor of this article signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 8 passes. Article 9 is in order. 721.
Madam Moderator, Article 9, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $6,000 from Article 7 of the May 7th, 2001 special town meeting to be used by the library director for the purchase and installation of an automated door opener at the library.
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends this article.
are there any questions on this article? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 9 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 9 passes. Article 10 is in order.
721.
Madam Moderator, I move the town to vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $40,000 from the sale, I'm sorry, what is it? Yeah. From the sale of town property account to be used for the fire chief for the purchase of firefighter protective clothing and gear.
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends this article.
are there any questions on this article? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 10 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 10 passes. Article 11 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $3,800 from free cash to be expended by the Chief of Police for the purpose of sending a police officer to the Police Academy in fiscal year 2017.
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends this article.
okay. Are there any questions on Article 11? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 11 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 11 passes. Article 12 is in order.
722.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer $350,000 of the $450,000 appropriated under Article 13 of the November 14th, 2016 special town meeting to the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund account.
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends this article.
okay. Are there any questions on this article? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 12 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 12 passes. Article 13 is in order.
723.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 15A, to transfer 351 Weathersfield Street, consisting of 1.3974 acres, and 355 Weathersfield Street, consisting of 3.5974 acres, town-owned tax title parcels, as shown on Assessor's Map 19, Parcel 8, lots 14 and 15, to the care and custody of the Conservation Commission for conservation purposes pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 8C, as it may from time to time be amended, and subject to the purposes and protection of Article 97 of the amendments to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommendation not
It's
required.
not- sorry. Are there any questions on Article 13? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 13 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 13 passes. Article 14 is in order.
724.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. John Manning from the Rowley Water Board. Article 14, I move that the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $45,000 from the Water Department Stabilization Fund for the purpose of paying the bond anticipation note issued for the Prospect Hill Road construction project.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. John, explanation of it?
Sure, it's a bond anticipation note. We worked with Karen Summit from the Treasurer's Department. By paying this amount now, we'll save several $1,000s in interest by doing a bond anticipation note. I think that's the best technical
Oh, yeah.
description.
Are there any questions regarding this article? This is a two-thirds vote. So I'm going to ask for your recommendation. Anybody, all those in favor of Article 14 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 14 passes. Article 15 is in order.
Thank you. I'll give you, these are all signed. I'll give it to
Okay.
you after I'm done.
Give them to me at the end.
Yep. Article 15, I move the town vote to transfer the sum of $187,278 from the Water Department Enterprise Free Cash to the Water Department Stabilization Fund. That is, when everything is said and done, this is an annual article. Once the state certifies what we have in free cash. We put it into that account, and we leave it with the town for investment purposes. And it's where we collect our money to do our major projects that require capital. And this is, again, an annual article we do every year with what's left over. And this year, you can see it's down from last year if you're looking at the previous years. Revenues were down and expenses were carefully controlled. So that's the free cash that's going to be put aside.
Okay. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor of Article 15 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 15 passes.
Thank you. Article 16, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $18,000 from the Water Department Stabilization Fund for the purpose of purchasing and installing an HVAC system at the Water Department Administration Building at 401 Central. Explanation on this, that the garage is pretty cold, and the meeting rooms had one small air conditioner that failed. We have nothing there at the moment, so we went out, got several bids, and it came in at this amount of money to put some heat in the building and also some air conditioning for the summer months.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 16? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 16 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 16 passes. Article 17 is in order.
Thank you. Article 17, I move the town will vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $80,000 from the Water Department Stabilization Fund to Article 24 of the May 2nd, 2016 special town meeting to be used towards the purpose and installation of a dehumidification system at the water treatment plant.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
We presented last year, we had a significant issue with the water treatment plant, the $12 million plant. There was no dehumidification system put into it when it was built. It's the way it was. There was a dire need for it. Everyone supported this last year. We went out to bid, got the bids. They came in a little bit higher than we had asked for. This isn't going to be every year we're coming back for more. We have the bids. We actually put a small contingent into this in case we do run out or run over on a little bit, so we should not come back for anything else. This will allow us to install the dehumidification system in the treatment plant and protect those assets.
Are there any questions on this article?
Kevin,
Yes.
come up.
Please state your name and address, please, and address into the mic.
Yes, Mike Sabatini, 239 Main Street. John, the question I have for you, there are a lot of articles now and then the later warrant tonight for the Department of Stabilization Fund. How much money do you have in that fund?
I don't have that number with me. The stabilization fund, the last time I looked at it, I think had 400,000, but the water treatment plant is one of the ones that's going to come out of that. So if you, and I'm just using wide numbers here, we had 400 and some odd thousand.
But,
Yep. We're going to take with the article previously, the 300 and, I don't want to say it the wrong number. I don't have it with me right up here. The 300 and X thousands for the dehumidification, that's coming out of the water treatment, so it'll reduce that stabilization by the 300,000. We're going to put in the free cash of 140 that we just approved, leaving us around 200. Again, very general numbers, but that's what that fund is for. We put the money in, we take it out. So there's no overrides or things like that. We don't raise the rates, we keep things stable with that. If you want to add anything? Those are real broad numbers I used, but pretty accurate.
pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other questions regarding this? Yes. For those of you that are standing up back, there's about a dozen seats right down here, and nobody bites down here. It's like church. You can come right up front.
Dave Levitt, 11 Ocean Ave, Rowley. My question is, we've got over $1 million already we're appropriating tonight. Are we going to be doing $1 million, or is this going to be coming back to the town? Water bills keep going up, but are we going to, who's going to benefit? The town paying the taxes, or the water department getting the money from the people?
I don't understand the question.
The question is we're appropriating over $1 million. I would like to know, are we going to get that back as far as the town's concerned? Is it going to be on our tax rate, or is the water department getting it?
I get it. Well, so let me make sure I get this. We're not raising the rates. We've held them steady for 3 years, so the rates will not increase. If your bill has increased, it's because you're using more water. The rates, again, have been stable for 3 years. And if the money that's been appropriated has been budgeted for and is going to be spent on projects within the town, on the distribution system or the water treatment plant. We're not doing anything outside of our operation. Is that clear?
Yeah,
Okay. He's just asking why it's going so high. I'm not sure what you mean, what's going so high? The bills? The rates?
The bills, right.
The rates, again, have not changed. If you look at your bill, the rate has been the same for the last 3 years, and going into fiscal year 18, the rates are going to be the same. So if your bill's going up, there's a leak detection program. We can help you. If you've got questions on that, call Penachuk, and we'll get some service there to look at it. But again, so your rates aren't going up. If you're paying more, there's something else going on. And we also have a rate study that's going to be happening June, July-ish. We'll bring in some people. It's not a lot of money. They'll do a rate study, and they'll help us determine, can we keep the rates the same? Can we, I hate to say this in public, cut the rates? Every option's on the table. But once we get that rate study, unlike in the past, we'll have a public hearing, and we will present everything that was there, and we'll get people's feedback, and if we need to increase the rates, people will have input to that, like what, you can't, what comes, what goes, what we'll do, and it's not going to be done in the dark. All right. That's all I had. Okay, good.
Are there any other questions? Yes, come forward, please, and state your name and address, please.
Hi, good evening, Matt Ziv, 50 Weathersfield Street. I have a question for you, sir. East Side resident, I know that the water treatment plant, which I do support, filters well 3 and well 5 according to your website. Well 2 next to the ball field channels into the main water supply and then goes to the east side of town without getting kicked back to the water treatment plant that we pay for. So according to your website, I noticed that the turbidity or the clarity of the water is 3 times cloudier on the east side than it is on the west side, and the chlorine levels are reading about 1.2 according to anything kicking off of well 2 versus 0.95 off of well 3 and well 5 going into the filtration plant. So my question for you, after saying all that, are there any plans to tie well 2 into this water filtration plant that we pay a lot of money for in this town, so the water will be filtered, for the residents of the east side, so to speak? That's my question.
So I might look to one of my fellow commissioners that's got a little more technical background for that question. Mark, if you'd help me. With respect to well number 2, it pumps directly the quality of water.
Water comes from the filtration plant.
To the
It comes down.
Mark, would you
Oh, sorry.
use the mic, please?
Yeah, when the the water comes through the treatment plant, it goes on to Haverhill Street. Then when it hits well 2, it all blends in the tank. So depending on what time of the day it is, depending on where you're getting your water from, because if the pumps aren't running, it's all the same water.
So the water,
You're not getting 2 separate. East End's not getting well 2, and
so
the
the
other
water from well 2 mixes in?
mixes in. It all mixes
Unfiltered-
together.
Unfiltered with the water that's filtered from?
Yeah, because it's not required to be filtered. It didn't have the problem. It's treated with the chemicals.
Are there any plans to have it filtered?
Not at this
Or
time.
without filtration plant?
Not at this time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, any other questions regarding this article? Okay. All those in favor of Article 17 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Article 17 passes. Article 18 is in order.
7:36.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw, the zoning bylaw, by making the following changes. Inserting the following new paragraph N under section 4.6.3. N, pharmacies with drive-through facilities. Inserting a definition for agriculture into section 2.0, definitions of the zoning bylaw, which reads as printed under Article 18, number 2, on page 4 and 5 of the May 1st, 2017 town special meeting warrant. 3, removing, strike through the text, 4.8.1, paragraph C of the zoning bylaw as shown under Article 18, numbered 3 on page 5 of the May 1st, 2017 special town meeting warrant, and replacing it with the new underlined text as shown under Article 18, number 3 on page 5 of the May 1st special town meeting warrant, so that it reads as follows: agriculture, horticulture, floriculture, and viticulture, provided that such uses shall be limited to parcels of land containing at least 2 acres.
Second.
And I need to know that this was public, the change in these bylaws were advertised.
Absolutely. We
Okay.
had a meeting at the planning board.
I know. All right, it's been moved and seconded. And there's no recommendation for the Finance Committee because it does not incorporate any money. So if there are any questions on this article,
Sure, please.
On your right.
Sherry David, Weathersfield Street. Decreasing it from 5 to 2 acres, is that going to now allow farm stands and retail with anything that's less than 5 acres?
Well, it actually just brings it into line with the state law that says that 2 acres is the minimum parcel. You can't limit less than 2 acres from agricultural use, so it does just bring it in line with the state law. So that would allow a person in the outlying district who has 2 acres or more to run an agricultural operation on their property.
So retail, commercial, what does it
Agricultural
go
would have to be
for?
related to agriculture. So if they grew there, they could sell there. And it's,
So
and
less than
again,
2
it's
acres you can-
consistent with state law.
Because where I am, there is a parcel that's going to be now in line with this. They're going to be allowed to be retail there.
No. They're allowed to be agricultural.
So they can sell what they grow?
That's correct.
Or- So that's how they'll get around it, and then they'll bring in
But
products that are
that-
related
that
to
wouldn't-
it?
This is just to allow them to grow what they produce on their property.
Okay. So there's nothing in place that they can't do that?
We still have a zoning bylaw that prevents them from moving retail into a district that doesn't otherwise allow it.
Okay.
are there any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 18 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 18 passes. Article 19 is in order. I do, just before you do that, I do want to tell people that are over here, this is the visitors' side, and they should have a tag on that says visitors. If we have to go to hand counts or different counts, and you're not to be on that side because you will not be counted. So it's better that you either move over to this side, or there are still some few chairs down here. If you have a chair open near you, let people know so that they can use it. I just want everybody to feel that your vote is being counted, and because on that side, they can't be counted against the wall there. All righty, thank you. Is there a motion sheet? Yeah, where was, you got your first motion?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, now you can start.
Okay, great. Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw, the zoning bylaw, by removing the strike-through text from section 8.6.5.4 of the zoning bylaw as shown under Article 19 of page 5 of the May 1st, 2017 special town meeting warrant, and replacing it with the new underlined text as shown under Article 19 of page 5 of the May 17, 2017 special town warrant to read as follows. 8.6.5.4, external illumination. Freestanding signs shall be illuminated from the top pointing downward. Luminaries mounted from below the sign are not permitted, except that the planning board may waive this requirement and permit a freestanding sign to be illuminated from the bottom pointing upward if the board finds that the proposed fixture complies with sections 8.6.5.5 and are otherwise consistent with the intent of the zoning bylaw. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Are there any questions on this?
All right.
Melinda Patrick, 291 Weathersfield Street. Can you just explain what the 8655, it says if it's consistent with that, what is, I guess I'm
I'm
confused.
going to have to refer to the planner for that, because I don't have a, I'm not sure exactly. 8.6.55, Kirk?
Oh, okay.
8.6.55 reads as follows. The fixtures used to illuminate externally illuminated
Could
signs.
you talk more into the mic, please?
The fixtures used to illuminate externally illuminated signs must be fully shielded to prevent glare to pedestrian and vehicular traffic, i.e. such fixtures must be designed to ensure that motorists and pedestrians in the area do not have a direct view of the light source.
Well, from what I remember, the zone, this was passed because, so we could see the stars at night. And I'm just wondering if this is going to change, you know, if we have all this light shining upward, then it's going to, you know, it's going to take away from that. So.
We still do look at light that would, we try to keep light contained within,
Right.
on the lot itself, okay?
Okay.
We have cutoffs on everything. This is really just to, right now we have about a dozen sites in town with signs where they have upward mounted lights that aren't in compliance.
Right.
And yet, nobody has any of the problems that 8.6.55 tries to prevent against. So we're just saying, you know what, rather than make these people scofflaws, let's bring it in line, because it's reasonable to do, and allow them to do upward mounted, if we agree that it's going to otherwise be consistent with the bylaw.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions on this article? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 19 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 19 passes.
734.
Article 20 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation Fund fiscal year 2017 annual revenues the amounts recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for committee administrative expenses, debt service, community preservation projects, and other expenses, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. The category is housing reserve. The original amount reserved was $19,366.87. The revised amount to be reserved is $25,057.50. The difference required to be reserved is $5,690.63. For the historical reserve, the original amount reserved was $0. The revised amount to be reserved is $2,594.81. The difference required to be reserved is $2,594.81. The administrative appropriation, the original amount reserved is $24,998.91. The revised amount to be reserved is $27,844.22. The difference required to be reserved is $2,845.31.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding this? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 20 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 20 passes. Article 21 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town to vote to transfer and appropriate from free cash the sum of $50,000 to be used by the Board of Selectmen for Prospect Hill roadway repairs, stormwater management systems.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. It's been moved and second. Are there any questions on Article 21?
Give you background.
My name is Stephen Comley Sr., and I reside Mansion Drive. I also am the founder of We the People, a national whistleblower organization, and I've had some...
Conley, could you please stick to the article that's present?
I have evidence that I have given to the Massachusetts Attorney General in regards to the use of selective enforcement in this project by the town officials, some town officials. Also, selective enforcement was used by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. And I just wanted to alert you that the Attorney General is looking into this matter. And selective enforcement has been used in other areas in this town that I'm quite familiar with. And that's wrong. And people suffer for it. And so I don't think you have all the information in regards to this project. I really
Do you
don't.
have a question regarding this article?
Yeah, I'd like to know, I guess there was some kind of an estimate turned in for the repair of the erosion control up there, because the erosion that went into the wetlands wasn't all caused by that overflow from the tank. No way, and I get evidence of it too. So I'd like to know what the estimate is so far to repair it. Does anyone know?
Madam Moderator, may
Yes.
I address this?
Go right ahead.
On April the 1st, there was a discharge from the water. Can everybody hear me? Okay. There was a discharge from the water tank. On April the 3rd, Monday morning, I entered Town Hall, and Miss Egan told me there was problems on Prospect Road. For those who don't know what Prospect Road, you know where the Bradford Tavern is, Haverhill Street. If you're heading westbound, you look to the left, you can see a hill, and they have a number of cell towers on the hill. That's Prospect Hill. Also up there is the town water tank. So I went up to, with Chief Dumas, Miss Egan, Town Administrator, Selectman Peterson, Commissioner Mark Emery from the Water Department, the project manager, who's a gentleman, I can't remember his name, but we walked the hill, and as we walked the hill, there were deep erosion and gouges in the center of the hill. As you went up about a third up the road, and then as you got to almost two-thirds up the hill, there were deep cuts in the road. I mean, very deep. There were, and I presented this, I took a number of photos, and I presented it on the 4th of April to the Finance Committee, so they could see the damage to the road. So as we continued up the road, we thought it was because we had a heavy melt from April 1st, April 2nd, over the weekend, and we thought that was the damage to the road. But as we continued up the road, you could see that this was not just from the water runoff from the melt. So we got up to the top, and then thank goodness for Commissioner Emery, Mark Emery, and we got to the bottom of it, and there was a discharge from the water tank. It cut down into the road. Now, the reason this road needs to be repaired, and it has to be done as quickly as we possibly can, because also up there, besides the water tank, is a number of cell towers in cell communications that is vital to this area. So the access to that road is vital for that. But also, police and fire antennas are up there, so that's needed. We have to get up there to attend to those. So that's basically what happened. There was a water discharge, there was a malfunction, Mark? Yes. And, well, that's why the road needs to be repaired, and that's why this $50,000 is so important to get this road up and repaired.
Got a question?
Go ahead. Into the mic, please, so they can hear it.
All right, isn't it true, Mr. Snow, that you got notice because I had reported it to the Rowley Police on Sunday, and they filled out a report, and they notified the selectmen of it? Isn't that true?
Miss Egan notified me on Monday morning.
Yeah, well, that's because I first reported it to the Rowley Police because the washout was so bad, we were afraid that it was going to wash out the electrical station that runs electricity to the pump. But this goes way back, because you know as well as I do that we the people reported the wetland violations to the DEP January the 8th, and they came out January the 11th, and they told the town, they told Mr. Bazelak to fill out a wetland violation because the erosion was not only going into the Rowley wetlands, but private wetlands too. And the DEP...
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with the $50,000 appropriation
think it
involved in this
does.
article. No, it doesn't. That's a different issue altogether.
I think it does, but, all right. Well, anyway, I guess you're going to hear a lot more about this. And as I say, selective enforcement in this town is not right. And there's another family in this town, the Blair family, that may
Madam
lose their
Moderator.
home over this.
Now you're off the subject,
Yep.
okay?
We all set?
I'm all set. If you're all set, I would like you to sit down. You're finished with your
Okay.
questions?
Yeah, thank you for
Okay.
the opportunity to speak.
All righty, thank you. Are there anybody else with a question regarding this article? Yes.
Sherry David, Weathersfield Street. When you talk about a discharge from the tank, is there any way to know that it's not going to happen again, or is the tank in need of repairs, that we're going to need
No,
money for that?
there's no problem.
Do we know what caused it?
It was a mechanical, Mark can address this.
Or is there any warning system in place that if this were to happen again, so we don't repair it and it washes out again?
To answer your question, will it happen again? Probably,
Probably.
yes. But to answer it better, is that the discharge is being moved. This is part of the whole money that we're doing. The discharge from the tank is being moved away from the road to a place where it's going to be harmless that it overflows. Mechanical things fail, so I won't tell you that it's never going to happen again, because
So the discharge was accidental?
discharge was accidental. It's happened numerous times over the 30-some-odd years that we've had the tank. It just happened to happen when the soil was all disturbed, which made it worse.
So is there anything in place that it doesn't just keep running and running and running?
Oh,
Sure,
I was
to the mic.
asking if there's anything in place that the water just doesn't keep running and running and running. That's my question, so we're not in this boat again.
yes, we've taken steps to make sure that that part doesn't happen again. The communications, there was a, yes. The communications is update, the procedures that are being followed are, for notification, have been changed to hopefully correct that problem.
Are there any other questions? There's somebody else coming before you, Mr. Conley.
Susan Pelletier, Meadows Lane. My question is, wasn't there recently some work done on this road? I mean, some involved work?
Yes. There was ongoing work at the time, and then the discharge caused extensive damage into the middle section of the road. And I took probably about 18 pictures, which I showed to the Finance Committee. but you can see there would, I mean, the damage was so deep, okay? It went down to the protective layer of the original road, okay? So we really do need to repair this as quickly as we possibly can.
So the company that worked on the road is not responsible at all?
No, they wouldn't be responsible for it.
And not the people that check for the cell towers?
No.
Because $50,000 seems like a lot
Yes.
of money for road repair when there's a lot of potholes now in our roads. And it's a dirt,
Again,
and it's
it
a dirt
wasn't-
road, too.
You know, this wasn't runoff from the water from the snow melt. This was runoff from the water tank itself.
Right, and the tank is repaired?
As the tank gets filled, okay, there's an overflow, and that's where the water came from.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, is it pertaining to this, Mr. Conley? Is this still pertaining to the article?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just, Mr. Snow, you aren't saying that all the erosion that happened up there was the result of the tank, are you?
Madam Moderator, Bob.
Repeat the question, please. I couldn't hear.
Are you stating that all the erosion that occurred up on that road was the result of the overflow in the tank?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
Bob? What?
Let me just add, I went up to that hill. We were you gotta understand, we were in the midst of repairing this road that has been washing out for the last number of years. So last year, we came in looking for money to repair this road. It just so happened that in the middle of the repair, when the road was not completed yet, the water discharge occurred. So the water started running down the middle of the road of the road that was only halfway repaired. So if the road had been finished from the original repair, it may not well have been as bad. But because the soil was disturbed and had been compacted, et cetera, it was a coincidence that it happened in the middle of the project, and that's why it did all the damage. 120,000 gallons of water came down that hill. We're here to fix it. If we don't fix it, the DEP is going to fine us, as well as Bob said, we need to have this for our communication system. We need to have it so the water department can get up there and check the tank and do the work in the tank. The cell tower companies who pay us rent for the cell towers up there need to be able to get up there to monitor their equipment. It was an accident. It happened. We have to repair it. I mean, we have no choice. We have to repair it. Otherwise, we're going to be subject to fines and so on and so forth from the DEP and dealing with our customers that rent that property up there from us. So we need to do it. It happened. We made corrections so that it's not going to happen again, and that's where it stands at this point.
So you're going to stand by the fact that you think all the erosion was caused by the overflow? And when I tell you that, I called the DEP...
Mr. Conley, the erosion in this particular incident that this is paying for was caused by 120,000 gallons flowing down that hill in a 4-hour period. Now, if there's anybody here that wants to argue that that's not a major issue for erosion, then so be it. We had an erosion problem there before. It was in the process of being repaired. The road was not compacted properly because it was in the middle of the construction period, and it caused probably more damage than what it would have if the road was in the original condition. But you know, 120,000 gallons coming down, that's a steep hill, is going to cause that kind of erosion.
Well, in all due respect, I know that's not true because, you know, I've been following this since January the 8th, right up to the 4th.
January the 8th has nothing to do with this. Mr. Conley, we need to vote to appropriate the money. We don't want to go back to all the complaints about previous January 8th. This incident happened in April. The money we're looking for here is to pay for the repairs that are caused by the washout of April 2nd or whatever that date was. That's it. There's nothing else involved in this.
Yeah. In all due respect, I don't agree with you because you know I asked for the accounting of what it would cost in a year to maintain that road, and nobody could give me the expenses for it, and I've heard it cost only $1,500 a year just to maintain the road so they could use it and get to the top of the hill. And now we're up to almost, what, 400,000?
Madam Moderator, I ask for a vote on this article. I mean, this is going nowhere.
All righty. It's been called to have the vote. Any more questions? Even though he's called for the vote, I'll give you a little opportunity. Besides Mr. Conley, I think he's stated all his facts. All those in favor of Article 21 signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Article 21 passes.
801.
And that completes the special. We need the motion to adjourn.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to adjourn the May 1st, 2017 special town meeting.
Second?
All those in favor of adjourning special town meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Town meeting is done. Special is done. We go to the regular town meeting. Yep. I gotta change. Would you like to start reading?
No, you're gonna open the meeting. I'm gonna read that motion.
All righty, we're going to open now to have the regular town meeting of May 1st, 2017.
Madam Moderator, I move to allow the non-resident town employees, local and state officials, and department heads to speak, if called upon, during the May 1st, 2017 annual town meeting. These individuals are seated against the wall on the right side of the room as you face the stage and on the stage, who will now raise their hands.
Second?
It's been moved and second to allow anybody that is a non-resident to speak on any article pertaining to if they work for the departments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Town of Rowley, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for the annual town meeting, May 1st, 2017. To the constables in the town of Rowley and the county of Essex, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Rowley qualified to vote in elections and town affairs to meet at the Pine Grove School, 191 Main Street, Route 1A, on Monday, the 1st of May, 2017, at 7 p.m., then and there to act upon the following articles.
Madam Moderator? Madam Moderator, I move to suspend the further reading of the May 1st, 2017 annual town meeting warrant because present town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second?
Everybody has a copy of this regular town meeting warrant. All those in favor of suspending the reading of the warrant signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it for the suspension. Article 1, any time to hear reports from committees and boards is in place. Article 2 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to suspend in the town meeting the application of Section 19 and Section 20 of the town meeting bylaw pertaining to the reconsideration of all money articles. Such suspension intended for the specific purpose to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts general laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, so called, and to give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts general laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second?
Any questions on Article 2? It's been moved and second. All those in favor of Article 2 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 2 passes. 806. Article 3 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to fix the annual compensation of elected officers of the town as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 108, as follows. Elective officer, moderator, Finance Committee recommends $100. Board of Selectmen, each member, $2,231. Board of Assessors, each member, $2,456. Town Treasurer, Collector of Taxes, $77,295. Town Clerk, $54,315. Planning Board, each member, $0. Surveyor of Highways, $75,035. Trustees of the Free Public Library, $0. Municipal Water Board, each member, $0. Rowley Housing Authority, $0. Municipal Light Board, each member, $0. Board of Cemetery Commissioners, chairperson, $500.
Second?
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any questions on Article 3? All those in favor of Article 3 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 3 passes. Article 4 is in order. 808.
I move the town to vote to raise and appropriate $16,372,884 and transfer and appropriate the sum of $700,000 from free cash and transfer and appropriate the sum of $250,000 from overlay reserve for a total of $17,322,884 to defray the expense of the town for the forthcoming fiscal year, including bonds, notes, and interest. Do I have a second?
It's been moved and
17.
second. Go ahead.
Okay. The 17 million plus includes the following: line item 1 through line item 59, subtotal $1,215,440.
Are you able to hear him? Okay. Yeah, you're just going to read the total for the, in the categories, right?
The subtotals, yes. Can you hear me
So if you're
now?
following along, you should be on page 2, and you're going to get the, well, that's your choice, but that's how the Finance Committee has always done it. They used to read every single line. Now they do the general. Well, but there are people that do put holes on a certain line item. Like right now, if we got to town moderator, if somebody put a hole on my line item, they would say a hole. We wouldn't ask, hey, you never know. You- Okay, it's your money. All right, does anybody have a hold on any of these line items? Yes, would you please come forward though on it?
Yeah.
Right.
I believe,
Dave, could you please state your name again?
oh, sorry, Dave Levitt, Ocean Ave, Rowley. At the beginning, we inserted for the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Cemetery Commissioners chairperson, $500. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And then down the end here, Cemetery Commissioner's stipend, we have $500 again. Are we paying him $1,000, or what are we paying him?
No.
No.
No?
Sue, anybody want to
Yeah, Madam Moderator, the first group is what everybody gets for a salary. That has to be voted. That's their salary. They can't make any more than that, so that's voted in a separate article. All this does is this actually appropriates the $500 to pay the salaries that are in that first article that we read. So he's getting $500, the same as the treasurer gets her money, as highway surveyor, they're all getting.
$100.
In the individual lines here, it actually appropriates the money that was in Article, 2 or 3. So it's not.
Saw 2 of them, and
Yeah, it's not, Article 3 just gives us permission to pay them. Article 4 gives us the money to actually pay them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Seeing any other questions on Article 3? Okay, all those in favor of Article 3 signify by, I'm sorry, Article 4, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 4 passes. Article 5 is in order.
People want to go.
Good evening. Bernie Cullen, Board of Water Commissioners. I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $2,277,464 from the Water Department Enterprise Fund for the fiscal year 2018 for the following: wages and salaries, $577,262.82. Expenses, running all the equipment and the water treatment plant and the hydrants, etc., $818,400. Miscellaneous category other of $50,000, and the debt to cover the water treatment plant, among other things, $831,801.18. Can I have a second?
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 5.
Are there any questions regarding Article 5? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 5 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 5 passes. Article 6 is on
Thank you.
order.
I move the town vote to transfer from the Water Department Enterprise Fund to the General Fund the sum of $100,023.75 for items listed under Article 6 on page 9 of the May 1st, 2017 annual town meeting warrant, and that any monies spent by the general government on behalf of the Water Department be reimbursed to the General Fund from the Water Department Enterprise Fund in fiscal year 2018. It's all the general services that the town government provides for the Water Department, like unemployment, insurance, retirement, etc. Can I have a second?
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 6.
Are there any questions on Article 6? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 6 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 6 passes. 814. Article 7 is in order.
I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $12,000 from the Water Department Stabilization Fund to be used to undertake a water rate study. Can I have a second?
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 7.
Are there any questions regarding Article 7? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 7 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Article 7 passes.
Thank you.
Article 8 is in order.
Montgomery Water Board, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $40,000 from the Water Department Stabilization Fund for the purchase of a pickup truck.
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 8.
Any questions regarding Article 8? All those in favor of Article 8 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 8 passes. Article 9 is in order.
I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $21,000 from the Water Department Stabilization Fund to be used for the replacement of modules of the Paul filtration system at the water treatment plant.
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 9.
Are there any questions regarding Article 9? All those in favor of Article 9 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 9 passes. Article 10 is in order.
I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $12,000 from the Water Department Stabilization Fund for the cleaning and inspecting of the wells and basins at the water treatment plant.
How much did you say that was?
$12,000.
12,000. Am I looking at Article 9? You're looking? Maybe I'm one behind. You're one behind. There you are. Sorry. My mistake.
I'm not sure right now. We contracted out.
Was it second? I'm sorry, Mark.
John?
John. Okay. Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 10.
Are there any questions regarding Article 10? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 11 is in order. 817.
Madam Moderator.
Yes.
I move the town to vote to authorize the following accounts in their uses printed on Articles 11 through 14 on page 11 in the May 1st, 2017 annual town warrant. Article 11, Municipal Light Board, Municipal Lighting Plant Annual Appropriation. Article 12, Harbor Master Municipal Water Maintenance and Improvement Fund. Article 13, Cemetery Commissioners Perpetual Care Trust Interest Account. Article 14, Board of Assessors Recertification Fund.
Second.
Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Articles 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding Article 11, 12, 13, and 14? Seeing none, all those in favor of these four, 11, 12, 13, and 14 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The articles pass. Article 15 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend the general bylaws of the town of Rowley by adding a new section to establish and authorize revolving funds for use by certain town departments, boards, committees, or officers under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, as printed under Article 15 on pages 12 to 14 of the May 1st, 2017 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Second.
Finance Committee on Article 15.
The Finance Committee recommends Article 15.
Are there any questions regarding Article 15? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 15 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 15 passes. Article 16 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53-E1/2, to authorize the following expenditures caps for fiscal year 2018. Name of the account: Council on Aging, $5,000. That's the cap on the account. Board of Health, $20,000. Parks and Recreation Committee and Board of Selectmen Field Maintenance, $30,000. Board of Selectmen, $2,000. Highway Department, $12,000. Shellfish Department, $6,000. Zoning Board of Appeals and Board of Appeals, $4,000. Board of Cemetery Commissioners, $20,000. Library, $2,500. Agricultural, $5,000. Harbor Master, $30,000. Board of Selectmen and Parks and Recreation Community Events, $20,000. Records Access, $5,000.
Second.
Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends Article 16.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding Article 16? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 16 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 16 passes. Article 17 is in order.
821.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to accept General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F and 3/4, which establishes a special revenue fund known as the PEG, Public Education, Government, Access, and Cable-related Fund to reserve cable franchise fees and other cable-related revenue for appropriation to support PEG access services, oversight, and renewal of cable franchise agreements. The fund to begin operation for fiscal year 2018, which begins on July 1st, 2017.
Second.
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends Article 17.
Are there any questions regarding Article 17? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 17 passes. Article 18 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate from the PEG Access and Cable-related Fund the sum of $55,000 for wages and $27,000 for expenses to support the cable, television, PEG access services and programming, and to prepare for the renewal of the cable franchise licenses, including any associated expert and legal services.
Second.
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends Article 18.
Any questions on Article 18? All those in favor of Article 18 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 18 passes. Article 19 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $63,439 from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust Septic Betterment Loan Program to pay the debt service on the town's loan from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust.
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends Article 19.
All those in favor, are there any questions regarding Article 19? All those in favor of Article 19 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 20 is in order.
Madam Moderator,
Yes.
I move that the town appropriate the sum of $38,992,086 for the purpose of paying costs of repairing, replacing, and constructing various major systems and building components at the Pine Grove Elementary School located at 191 Main Street, Rowley, Massachusetts, including but not limited to the roof, windows, and building envelope, HVAC, and telecommunications infrastructure, mechanical, electrical, and septic systems, and site and vehicular circulation improvements, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, which proposed limit renovation is and repair project would materially extend the useful life of the school and preserve an asset that is otherwise capable of supporting the required educational program, and for which the town has applied for a grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, the MSBA, said amount to be expended under the direction of the Board of Selectmen. To meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The town acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA. That the MSBA Board of Directors has voted to invite the town to perform a feasibility study, but has not yet voted its approval of the project. That if said Board of Directors votes to approve the project, any project costs the town incurs in excess of any grant that may be approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the town, and that if invited to collaborate with the MSBA on the project, the amount of borrowing authorized pursuant to this article shall be reduced by any grant amount set forth in the project funding agreement that may be executed between the town and the MSBA. Any appropriation hereunder shall be subject to and contingent upon an affirmative vote of the town to exempt the amounts required for the payment of interest and principal on said borrowing from the limitations on taxes imposed by Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5. Any premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of costs of issuance of such bonds or notes may be applied to the payments of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 20, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay, and we are going to have a short presentation. There's already been 2 public hearings on this, so that the people that are here can see what the need is and then cast your vote.
Good evening.
Gentlemen, could you introduce yourselves, please? I'm terrible at remembering names.
Good evening. My name is Brad Dorr. I'm a principal with Dorr & Whittier Architects. Joining me tonight is John Richardson, who's the senior project manager with our firm, responsible for the Pine Grove School project. So, first of all, I'm happy I didn't have to read the Warren article, and we're going to try and keep this fairly brief, but what we'd like to do, as the moderator was saying, is this has been presented a couple of times, certainly not as well attended as tonight, but just to give you some background on the project. So briefly, this project, okay, is a partnership with the Mass School Building Authority. Okay, they are a partner in terms of process as well as part of your reimbursement program. And they have a very rigorous project that you have been invited to, and I'll go through the schedule and exactly what that means. Representing you, okay, are ourselves as the designer, but we also have a team with other partners in it, which is Pink & Company, who is your professional owner's project manager, and W.T. Rich Company, who is your construction manager, okay, who will ultimately be responsible for building this project. So at the moment, okay, we're about 6 months into the project, and as I was saying, the MSBA is a module process, as they call it, with 7 key steps. The first step, okay, was a little over a year ago. You were invited into what they call the eligibility period, okay, which allows you, okay, to be one of the 26 communities throughout the Commonwealth that were invited into their school rehabilitation program. So there were over 90 communities that applied, 26 accepted, and you were the one community in the state that still is going under what they call a limited scope repair project. So it was a repair project, not a new construction project, and also has the benefit of being expedited throughout their process. In terms of the second module, okay, that's represented there, okay, the project team I just went through, that has already been selected, and we are now, okay, have gone through Module 3, Module 4, to where the schematic design will be completed effectively as of today. And what that means is we're in a position to go and take this to the town, okay, to seek your approval, and then subsequently it would be approved by the MSBA Board of Directors. If that actually takes place, which would be taking place on June 28th, then you would be able to go and sign, okay, Module 5, which is a project funding agreement, and then we would commence in earnest the more detailed design and then building the project, which would be completed, okay, in late summer of 2019. Again, today, okay, town meeting vote required as part of the MSBA process. If it goes past town meeting vote successfully, then it would go on to the ballot on May 9th. And as I mentioned previously, with those 2 town approvals in hand, it would be brought forward to the MSBA Board of Directors on June 28th. What I'd like to do right now is just discuss what some of the needs are of the building and why you're here looking to go and approve this project. As many of you may know, okay, this This project was actually put together, this building was put together in 3 separate phases. The first phase in 1954, second phase in 1962, and most recently, in 1988. And really what that means is that you have many parts of the buildings, including the building systems, which are over 60 years old. And while they've been repaired, sometimes, as I think one of the gentlemen said earlier on a different topic, is things get tired, they get old, they break, and ultimately they need to be repaired. And in many instances, particularly with respect to the building systems, that's the case. This image right here, is looking at one of your existing boilers, original equipment. Some of the bright, shiny stuff there on the bottom is new burners. There's been many upgrades in terms of trying to keep that equipment going, but overall, it's starting to get pretty old now. This is an image where, during many rainstorms, you can see this is at one of the entrances. They have rags at the bottom of the doors trying to prevent wind-driven rain. You can actually see, maybe not from the back, but in between the doors, you can see daylight in between there. And then, in fact, the moisture intrusion has gotten to a point now where it's corroded the window system and the curtain wall there, where that has to be replaced because it's starting to break down. Going on, if you think about 1954, 1962, there really wasn't the plug load, no computers, certainly not as advanced as we are today. The building is at capacity. We have to go and look at the distribution systems where they've had to go and put that in place to service plug loads, to be able to get the computers online. All of the electrical panels right now are at or over capacity, and this project would go and look at replacing all of those systems and to bring that up to code. Again, during the rainstorm, most rainstorms, there are many places within the building where the roof leaks. We're not experiencing that in here tonight, but it's not uncommon. Certainly this image right here is in the gym where the staff would put out rain barrels in order to capture the water so it doesn't deteriorate the floor any further. Kitchen equipment, right over on the side wall there, all original equipment again. There have been many instances where it doesn't break, or excuse me, it doesn't work and it breaks down. We've had, I think, 2, maybe 3 gas leaks this year. 4. In terms of trying to go and keep all of that going, but again, it's old, and at a certain time things get beyond their useful life, and we're at that point right now with respect to the kitchen equipment. And this is just an example, of water intrusion, and this is prevalent throughout the building, where the water has gotten into the building, whether it's just finishes, which is the case on the image on the right, but that starts to get into the windows, which starts to get into the wall, and starts to create issues. And you can see, obviously, from the previous image where everybody's trying to catch the water getting onto the gym floor. You don't catch it all, and so over time, that starts to deteriorate that floor as well. So John's going to go through a little bit in terms of what some of the proposed fixes are that would be part of this project in terms of renovation scope.
Thanks, Brad. So Brad did the bad news, and I'll do the good news, which is what we'd like to do for you. At this stage, we call it scope and budget. We've defined the scope of the project. That's what I'm going to tell you about. And we've defined the budget, so we can go forward and design. And what is in that design? First, working with the staff and the administration, we're going to reorganize the inside of the building a little bit in terms of layout. This was last year with 4 classes of 6th grade, and after this year, all grades will just be 3 classes. So there's a little extra space right now in the building, which we can take advantage of to improve the educational delivery. So we're going to reorganize it, cluster the grades appropriately in pairs. So you have 1st and 2nd. You have kindergarten, you have 1st and 2nd. You have kindergarten, pre-K, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and 5th and 6th. We'll also use that extra classroom that goes with each grade, and we're going to create what's called an extended learning area. This will provide both flexibility should there be an increase in enrollment in the future, and in the immediate term, it provides a flexible grade-oriented space where the whole grade can get together for special events, maybe a guest speaker or a music event. We're also clustering the art and music in the north wing. Right now, they're situated in the middle of the south wing. That's a little bit disruptive, and their spaces are a little bit undersized. So we can improve the quality of the spaces and the location. This is a picture of a renovated classroom. That's what this project is really about. As part of the study, we first did an assessment of the existing building. We found that it's structurally fine, and that it's actually sized bigger than a new building would be for the MSBA's program. So the school, the district benefits long-term in terms of protecting itself against any future growth by renovating, which is also slightly less expensive than building new. And what we hope to do is give you basically an all-new school on the inside. We'll have student-centric classrooms with flexible furniture, ergonomic seating. We're going to overdo the whole school in terms of accessibility. There's a number of issues, whether it's a stage here, the front entrance, or throughout the building, or bathrooms that are not accessible. We'll redo those to meet current standards. We're going to upgrade technology, so there'll be complete Wi-Fi coverage and full data support. Right now, there's only about one Cat5 outlet in each classroom. And we'll upgrade the finishes and improve the interior environment through the building systems. The primary driver of this is, as Brad was mentioning, replacing most of the building systems, whether it's the mechanical system, the electrical system, or the plumbing. With a high-efficiency HVAC system, that's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, we can provide air conditioning at a low velocity and actually a lower cost than currently right now with residential window units supplying air conditioning to part of the school. We'll replace the bathroom fixtures, which we have to do anyways for accessibility. We'll replace them with new and water-efficient fixtures. Finally, we'll be adding a fire protection system. Right now, there's only a few storage rooms that are sprinklered. As a school building, the whole building should be sprinklered, and it will be sprinklered under this project. Also, in terms of lighting, we're going to do all new LED lighting, which is better quality and much more energy efficient. We're also going to touch the building envelope a little bit from the outside. We'll replace the windows with new thermally broken low-E windows, and we'll put a little bit of insulation on the inside. We're not going to touch the outside of the building. It will basically look the same as it does now, but we will improve its performance with insulation from the inside, which will in turn help the air conditioning system. As I mentioned, both inside and out, we're going to bring the whole building and site up in terms of meeting accessibility code. The elevator needs some controls, but generally it's okay. There's a number of stairs that don't meet current guidelines. The ramps need to be redone. And the stage needs to be accessible, and the playground also needs accessible access, and so we'll take care of that in this project with rubberized floor paving. Another major component of this project is to enhance the school security. That's always an issue nowadays with schools. We'll improve the front entry by providing a true vestibule with 2 layers of glass doors, so visitors can credential themselves before getting complete access to the building. And that will be, the glass there will be a school guard glass or other equivalent glass. That's a bullet-resistant glass. There'll be card readers and improved camera coverage for monitoring entrance and exit to the site and the building. And the building will be zoned. We're going to modify some of the locations of the interior doors so that the gym can be opened up after hours or after school, and the rest of the school building can be closed off, so you don't have people running up and down the school when there's an event. A major component of this project is to redo the site. You all arrived today. You know what the site is like in terms of parking and access. We can't fix everything, but we can definitely improve it. We worked hard with our design team and with the school administration and building committee. And what we came up with is by moving bus parking behind the north wing, creating a separate bus loading and unloading zone that only be used by buses during the school day. It'll be empty. It can provide an extra play area during the school day. It could provide parking after school or on the weekends for the fields, but it separates the buses from cars. That way, cars have good queuing space, and they come to a turnaround there, and then they can leave. With the buses up here, they're completely separated. Students who are dropped off will be dropped off right in front of the school entrance, not have to cross the road. Students who do walk or bike to school will have a pathway with just one crosswalk. So there's very limited and very controlled crossing of students, cars, and buses. as opposed to the current situation. And we're also, we'll also be redoing some of the playground in terms of rubberized flooring to provide accessibility, as I mentioned before. Brad, do you want to talk about cost?
So in terms of cost, right, one thing for sure, no school building project in Massachusetts is cheap. $39 million is a lot of money, but the good news is that with the MSBA as your partner in this program, your reimbursement rate is 50.46% of eligible costs. There are some costs, which is the case in all projects, that are not eligible. However, the project team has worked very hard, okay, to get that reimbursement percentage up as high as we possibly can. So right now, while you're actually going and approving the $39 million number, your share is approximately 21.7, with the MSBA picking up the balance. The MSBA program allows for you to go through their program basically once, to go through the process. If it's approved, then you go forward with the project. If it's not approved, you can always resubmit, but you basically go and start the process all over again. And as I said, there were over 90 communities that went forward, and 26 were selected, and you were actually the one only limited scope repair project, okay, in the Commonwealth. So I've seen some of the projects or signs around town, and you know, you do have an old school here for somebody who has done a lot of these throughout the state. The building committee, as well as the Board of Selectmen, have been very clear to us that this is something in terms of the project scope that's not intended to be extravagant, but really is something intended to serve the needs of the community and to go and make the building right again while servicing the educational requirements of the town. So with that, I think that's the end of our presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, please come up here. Please come up, state your name and your address. I will tell you this is going to be a paper ballot, so I'm going to ask the counters to start passing them out. You can get up to the side and stand. And once, I will explain how we do the paper ballot.
Good evening, I'm Larry Mitkus. I live on Rowley Country Club Road. My question to the design team is, I see the estimate, construction estimate, and is that, it's an estimate, that's my question. Does that include any unforeseen issues that may relate to renovation? For example, asbestos or lead remediation?
So the question was, right now, the costs that have been represented are estimates. So this is a good question because they are estimates. But one of the things early on that the town decided to do was to pursue an alternative construction delivery method, which is called construction management at risk. The benefit of that is that you bring in the contractor early. We've had the contractor on board for several months now. And so the estimates, there's actually two independent estimates that are put together. One by an independent estimator that we retain, as well as the construction manager themselves. Both those estimates are then reconciled to a point that they're within 3 to 4%. With respect, the other question that was asked, are there any contingencies out there to that would basically go and cover potential unforeseen conditions? And so the answer to that is yes. We actually have several contingencies in the project. There's an owner's contingency at 2%. There's a construction contingency to the benefit of the owner at 4%. At the moment, there is a 10% design and pricing contingency because right now the design is fairly early stage. So as that design evolves and the estimators see more, then that contingency will reduce ultimately to zero and get absorbed into the project. And then the construction manager also has a construction contingency within their budget of 5%. If none of those contingencies are used, then that money would go back to the town and not to anyone else.
So then I have a follow-up question. You're a construction manager on board, but the actual project will go out for public bid, correct?
There's two delivery methods in the state. One is design, bid, build, okay, which is low bid. And then there's construction manager at risk. And the way that the construction manager at risk process works is that all of the, what under DBB or design, bid, build are called filed subtrades, all of those contracts are bid in both procurement methods. And those trades represent approximately 50 to 60% of the total construction costs. And then just as it would be in a general contract or a design bid build situation, those costs are carried by either the CM or by the general contractor. All in a CM procurement, all contracts over, I think it's $25,000? I think it's $25,000 are ultimately bid out, although not in the same fashion as the sub-bids, and reviewed by the project management team, the owner's project manager, the designer, and the construction manager. So it's very much open book.
I'll make one final statement and then I'm done. If your home is valued right now at about $500,000, you'll see a tax increase of $775 a year. Thank you.
My name is Stephen Conley Sr., live on Mansion Drive, Rowley.
Okay, ask your question,
Yeah.
Mr. Conley, please.
Question is, do you have any figures what it would cost
Can you
to
talk
build
into
a
the
brand-
mic?
to build a brand-new facility? Because right now, it looks like it's what, $400 a square foot? Is that what we're talking?
Project cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know other communities have built new schools and kept the old facility that they could use for other things, like a gym here. But, so what are the figures if you were going to build a brand-new school? Because this facility is old and definitely going to be some prizes down the road, I'm sure. So what would it cost to build a brand-new? What would be the square footage cost, do you know?
Yeah, so when we're looking at new construction, construction costs only right now, not looking at soft costs, we're currently looking at costs, right around $500 plus or minus per square foot. This project here, I believe, is coming in about $325, $328 a square foot as a renovation project. And in either of those instances, you would go and add soft costs to that, which would be roughly somewhere between 20 and 25%. So really, you're talking somewhere around the 3/5 the cost of new construction.
Just like to add, Brad mentioned before eligible and ineligible costs, and that's an important thing to understand with this issue. The MSBA caps their reimbursement at $312 a square foot for construction costs. So this project as a renovation is maximizing that. There's very little, in other words, there's not ineligible. If we were building new construction, then you'd have almost $200 per square foot that was ineligible. That would be all 100% on the town's share. So as a renovation project with a lower cost per square foot, you're maximizing your reimbursement from the MSBA.
But when it goes out for public bid...
Talk into the mic.
it could be a lot.
Talk into the mic, please.
It could.
Yeah.
It could.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Mr. Conley,
we can
please
hope.
put your questions into the mic so everybody can hear your questions.
Hi, Danby Whitmore, 61 Glen Street. There's been no mention of this being a green building. Is there a reason that that has not been talked about? Because that seems like important if this is a very expensive thing and it's a long-term outlook. We need a green building.
No. Another really good question. So as part of the LSR program, MSBA typically provides one additional incentive point for going and pursuing green building initiatives. We were not able to go after that 1%, but that doesn't mean that we actually haven't included a whole bunch of sustainable features. In fact, we went through an in-depth review on the HVAC system to go and make sure that we could get the most efficient system that we possibly could, as well as John had mentioned earlier, what we're actually doing, because the insulation here in the school is virtually non-existent. we're taking and working it from the inside out, as was shown in that diagram, to insulate the building so that we can take advantage of the more efficient HVAC system, as well as things like low flow fixtures, which I think were mentioned, as well as high efficiency lighting systems. So many of those features that we would see under a supported sustainable project or a LEED project are being included here as part of this project.
Also, our standard specifications, which we'll use, are based on LEED, so we'll have low VOC glues and adhesives in the project. Our furniture will be low VOC, so carpets, the flooring will all be low VOC. So that our basic basis of designs is sustainable. It's just not going to meet LEED per se.
After this approval, can the design be changed if there are further ideas for making the building more green?
Oh, I think that, ultimately that's up to the building committee, to go and say that. But what I can tell you is that there is a high level of sustainability that will be built into it. Our firm is one of the top 100 green design firms in the country, so we take it very seriously. We're part of the 2030 challenge. So, we look at it very holistically and have done a bunch of life cycle cost analyses to go and, make sure that we've got as sustainable a product as we can get in there and make it affordable still to you. And in fact, there have been some things that ultimately were deemed not affordable at the time in an effort to try and keep costs down. But as this gentleman said, if on bid day the numbers come in low, you have an opportunity through some of the alternates that have been put forward to go back and get those. And for example, one thing is like linoleum flooring versus VCT, which is recognized as having a lower life cycle cost. If the money is there and the building committee opts to do that, that's something that would make the building, as you're saying, more green if it's the will of the building committee and they want to take that alternate.
Hi, Ben Day, 34 Pleasant Street. Question for the experts. I look at those overloaded outlets, lack of proper egress, and a number of other dangers, potential dangers to our kids. What does the committee, what do the architects estimate is the current fire risk?
That's a tricky question. There certainly are issues here, right? The building is not sprinklered. If we were building a new building today, we would be sprinkling the building. There are a number of things with respect to the fire alarm, access, egress, that because the building is old, right, it's grandfathered, and you don't have to go and have all of those things. If you're comparing that to a new building or a newly renovated building, those things would be remedied. And we've had a number of meetings, with the chief. We've met with the building inspector to go through all of the things that they would be looking to have this project fix so that it can be compliant with all of the appropriate codes. So yes, you have things today, that, if you were building a new building, aren't the way that we would do it. But that's because, this building is 60 years old. And that's one of the things that, you're looking to consider here as you make this decision tonight.
Just quickly, maybe a question to the community at large. Does anyone doubt the value of affording their kids a facility where they can at least be safe from some of the most common dangers that I've seen here in terms of aging systems, overloaded circuits, structural integrity issues as the building continues to age? And from what I heard in the timeline of how the school was built, we're talking about one major renovation in the last 45 years, somewhere around there. So just like to encourage you to take that into consideration. Thanks.
Karen Herrick, Newburyport Turnpike. I do have a master's degree in education. I have spent many years teaching. I've taught grade levels 3, 4, 5, and 6, just to give you background of my
Can you talk into the mic, please?
Talk to the mic, because I can barely hear you, and I'm right here.
Okay. Just to give you, an idea of my work history, I do have teaching experience. There's no question something needs to be done, definitely. I think the question really, is it a repair, an emergency repair, as has been stated, this renovation, or a new build? And there appears, to take a look at the renovation, the square footage is 90,000 square feet? It's 87,000, 90,000 square feet, and the cost of the project is $39 million for renovation. That brings it a cost per square foot of $443. Seacoast Online had an article in 2013 about a school, elementary school in Portsmouth, in the north end of Portsmouth. And the building, it was new construction, this is not renovation, new construction to house 550 students. And the cost per square foot was $304. So we've got $443 for a renovation. That was $304 for new construction. Now, in the Salisbury Library, we all go by it on Route 1. The Salisbury Library replaced another library the town of Salisbury had. And the construction costs for that new library, and if you go around the circle, you really see how big it is. You really can't see how big it is.
You're talking New Hampshire to Massachusetts, so is there a question regarding this project?
Yes, it's just a question of the cost, right? the
Okay.
General cost, okay. This is Salisbury, Mass.
I thought you said Portsmouth.
Yes, I did
Oh,
initially.
you're talking now of the library in Salisbury?
Yes, just to give you an idea. The construction cost of that new library, and I'm not at all implying that the construction cost would be the same for a library. It would be much less, I would think, cost per square foot than it would be for a school. However, the building, the Salisbury Library, costs $7.5 million, and the state gave $3.5 million in grants. So my concern, I could go on with other examples that I have here, but, is the renovation something that's wanted? It seems like we have a patchwork school here, as far as, systems that were patched in. It seems like the overrides could really be a problem once everything is dug into, and the costs could dramatically escalate. I'm concerned too, because of the impact on taxes. And the Free Paper had an article that stated, with the new police station that's been approved, the new fire station, and a project, our taxes would go up 20%. And it didn't even include what we're going to have to pay for the Triton new stadium.
So is your question regarding the cost, or are you just going on about all of the different projects?
No, I'm going on because, my concern is we really haven't had, for instance, the town of Hopkinton had a new school built and sent out extensive surveys and, talked with people. I never was given any notification that any kind of meetings were in order.
There has been, I will tell you, as somebody that's involved in town, there have been 2 public hearings. Last year you appropriated for the money for this feasible study. So it's been a constant thing going on. You could watch it on the cable channel, any of the stuff. Their meetings are public. And I assume, if the committee could tell me, have you been meeting once a month, every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
In terms of communication to the town, it just, do I have to go online, find out? I mean, can there be any schedules sent? So those are my concerns, that we have a lot of projects coming in at one time that are going to raise the tax rate. Raising the tax rate, if you were looking for a home in Rowley and saw the taxes on a home and compared it to surrounding towns, would you be willing to pay for a home in Rowley? You know, those extra taxes?
I think you
would.
got your answer to your question.
All right. You know, that's fine. Think about that.
Madam Moderator, can I
Yes.
just answer a couple of those questions? She's
All
talking
right, just
about
1 minute.
the original school, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. New Hampshire does not have a prevailing wage rate. Our prevailing wage rate, which is required under state law for municipal projects, probably increases the cost of our projects by 25%. Brad can probably tell you better, but, so you can't compare a New Hampshire project versus a Massachusetts project. As far as a library project versus a brand-new library versus a school renovation or a school project, they're two different animals. It's hard to do that. The New Hampshire project was in 2013. She said this is going to be built in 2018. As far as a new building goes, we have no place to put it. If we were going to build a new building, we have to go buy some land, sufficient amount of land, of probably 5 or 8 acres somewhere in town to put a new building. It's easy to sit here and say that, well, if we build a new building, we'll just turn this building into something else. What are we going to turn this building into? There's 90,000 square feet here of a building that'll be falling apart. We'll probably just be ending up spending money to tear it down. There's no other room here. This is the project that the state has authorized us to build. It's what we looked at putting up new buildings, renovation. This is the most cost-effective. It can be done the quickest because this building is, in fact, deteriorating rapidly. We need to move forward in this project. And just be aware that if this project gets turned down, your Board of Selectmen and your Finance Committee are going to be coming back in the next 10 years looking for many millions of dollars to replace the roof, the heating system, the electrical system, installation of sprinklers, and we'll be doing it on a piecemeal basis. This way here, we get the project done. Yeah, I understand it's expensive. We're all taxpayers here. And just understand that, yeah, well, it's expensive. It's going to be expensive. But we need to get the project done and done right, both for our children, the safety of our children, the education of our children, and from the future costs that the town is going to have to bear without state reimbursement to help us pay for those costs. So just keep that in mind.
Which brings me to my question, which is, where is this state grant coming from, and is it guaranteed?
Well, could you please?
Franklin,
They didn't hear
Devonshire,
that.
I live at 89 Kittery Avenue.
Okay, and repeat the question. 'Cause
Okay, my question is, this state grant, where is it coming from, and is it guaranteed?
So it's not really a grant, it's a reimbursement, and they're pretty particular about that, but the effect's the same.
Where does it come from?
It comes from the state, right, through the Mass School Building Authority.
From our wallets.
It comes from your wallets. It's actually 1 penny of the sales tax is appropriated towards school building construction. So, and that's where that pool of money comes from every year. And so in terms of, is it guaranteed, once you go and sign up if the town goes and approves this, and if the Mass School Building Authority Board of Directors approves it, that next step that we showed in the initial schedule would be going and signing that project funding agreement, and they have guaranteed your reimbursement rate of 50.46% of all eligible costs, which we discussed.
So to make sure that I'm clear, this is going to add $1.55 for each $1,000 of our assessment. If this is approved, from here on out, we're at the mercy of our assessment by the town. The town can jack our assessments up to wherever they want them, and we're at the mercy of that. And to argue your point, the city of Peabody just built a brand-new middle school right alongside their other school. They didn't have any money or any land to buy. They built the school right alongside, and then when they moved into the new school, they tore the old one down and made the old location the sports fields. Thank you.
No, I understand that, and to answer that question, people that have children here know that we have one baseball field up by the behind the police station. The soccer fields and the softball field, and if we buy the additional land tonight, are right next to this building. So therefore, if we want to build a new school on that land, we're taking 50% of our playing fields to be used for the new school. I don't know where those kids are going to play ball, or where they're going to play soccer or lacrosse or whatever. So, we have it's a land issue here. We don't have lots of land available to do this. And a renovation is more effective at this point, so.
Yeah, I guess just one thing to add to that, because there are, as the gentleman points out, a lot of examples where you can go and build the school right next to school. The other thing here, as part of the scope of this project, is you will be replacing your septic system, and that septic system is going to be going out in behind. We're going to take the old system and replace that with a new system, which is going to take the land actually by the ball field and under the ball field in order to go and replace that. So, never say never, but it does give you a fairly limited footprint to work with between those two things, because you're bounded by wetlands. All in all, it feels like a big site, but it's actually pretty tight.
George Gallant, 367 Central Street. My objection is that we've got too many projects going already. We're still paying to cap the dump. We're paying for a fire truck. We're paying for a police cruiser. We haven't even started paying for the public safety building or the stadium yet. This is just going to drive us all out. Nobody can afford it.
Next.
Good evening. John Tomino, 36 Christopher Road. Question for the board. When this all started a couple of years ago, what kind of opposition on the town committee was there? Was there any dissenting voices? How about the school? This is a school committee?
No, that's the finance committee.
Was there any dissenting opinions on the finance committee where I just heard all those articles, finance committee recommends, finance committee recommends? How much has the architects got paid already for this fine presentation? Nothing personal.
No, I think our total contract for the stage is about a little over $400,000.
$400,000. What I'm witnessing here is it seems to me that the school committee, the town clerks, the finance committee has an agenda. We got to get this school. And believe me, my kids went to school here, and this school needs work. But this is $38 million here. This is serious money. 21. How many state or city projects always stays in budget? It never happens. $775 for the taxes, you know that's going to go up. And that gentleman was correct. You know that evaluations are going to go up. The school needs work. $38 million is a lot of money, okay? It can be done for less. It seems like I don't hear any dissenting opinions. If this happens, fine, but it doesn't seem, where is our video that says, well, wait a minute here, is there any alternative to this? That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Anybody else? I'm going to make you the last one. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Joe Atchison, 32 Pleasant Street. So I just wanted to clarify, there's been a lot of questions about new construction. So it seems like we've established there's no good place to put a new school, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Well, it wasn't even so much that. It was that the program that you got invited into, okay, wasn't a new construction program. However, okay, we did look at that, and we did have the discussion because MSBA also asked us to look at it, and the answer is that because of the way the MSBA program works, right, your square footage of the building would be much smaller. It would be about 67,000 square feet if you were going to go and build a new school under the MSBA program. And it would actually, as John pointed out, then you have a lower effective reimbursement rate from the state because you're going to have a higher dollars per square foot number, and the MSBA caps it at $312 a square foot. So, and this discussion took place with the building committee to go and evaluate potentially a new school with lower square footage, and it would actually cost you more in the final analysis. And I think that, and I guess I'll speak for the building committee, but I see Larry's here, so he can speak because he's also on the building committee, that decision was made because you have the additional square footage. It gives you more flexibility going down the road if something changes and you find your enrollments go up, and just overall a better use of community funds.
Right. So new building, more expensive, better use of our facility with renovation. And I'm also concerned about the time. There's a tremendous amount of work that's gone into this proposal as a renovation project. If we were to pass on this, turn down the state funds and go new construction, is there any sense you could give us on how much longer that would take to complete a new construction project? In the meantime, we're dealing with the safety issues, the fire hazards for each additional day that presumably keeps us awake at night, or at least it does me.
I think it would probably be in the order of about, an extra 12 to 18 months to go and switch gears at this point right now.
All right. And we're over 2 years out right now, so new construction, we're looking at 3.5 years out.
Without the MSBA, I mean, if, I just want to point out, if this is turned down by the town, you go to the back of the line with the MSBA. And I've worked with another district, which is 4 years out, trying to get back in the door.
Yeah, it's more expensive, less space to use, and an extra 18 months out. Potentially no reimbursement. Without reimbursement. Thanks.
Larry?
Good evening. I'm Larry White. I'm chairman of the Finance Committee. I'm at 108 Central Street. I also own property in Salisbury. The last time I checked at Salisbury, the books don't need a kitchen. The books don't need bathrooms. The books don't need guidance counselors. There's no comparison. Now, as far as Rowley is concerned, I'll be honest with you, I'm 72. I have no children, no grandchildren. I have no interest in Pine Grove School as far as being personally involved. And yet, I am on the Pine Grove Reconstruction Committee. I was on the committee that picked Pink & Company as the owner's project manager. I was on the committee that picked Doran Whittier. I was on the committee that picked the construction manager at Risk. You'll hear it for about the next 2 minutes. It's not really a question, okay? The question is, do you want to support the school?
If you have a question, please come up and, well, he's on the committee, he's explaining something.
There was a question as far as, did the Finance Committee have any interest in this? And I am answering that question, that the Finance Committee worked with everybody independently, and we've come up with these teams of people. And even though I don't have an interest in this as far as my own personal interest, I have an interest in the town of Rowley, and I support this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jake Carmody, live at 40 Pleasant Street, and I just wanted to point out that the school, we need an updated school. There's no other option, there's not another school around in the town, and if we don't do this right, well, and we need a $38 million, it's going to cost $38 million or near that for a new school or a renovated school, and if we don't vote for it now, then we'll pay for it either in a few years and have a new school in a few years, or we'll pay for it piecemeal, as Mr. Peterson pointed out. We're still going to need to pay for the building's sprinkler system. Hopefully, if this didn't go through, hopefully we would be able to fund a sprinkler system project or fund a new roof. We're essentially going to spend $38 million, and that $700,000 or $700 a year, if that's what your tax assessment is, on all of those things, except it will be spread out over the next few years, where we're making those improvements piecemeal. And so we're going to spend $38 million. It's going to cost you $700. But if we do it now, it's going to be, half is going to be covered, and we won't be footing that whole $38 million cost. We're going to be paying for a little more than half of it. So we can pay for a little bit more than half of it now, we can pay for all of it over the next 5 or 6 years where we're still going to be living here and we're still going to be paying those taxes. I guess that's all I had. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Glenn Holt. I live on Weldon Farm Road, 71, no kids in the school system. I am retired. The quality of schools that we have brings people into the community. A new school makes Rowley a more desirable place to live. And ultimately, it improves the value of our homes because it makes us a more desirable place to live. My question is, are you aware of any facts that would support that on a statewide basis in terms of improvement of schools, improving home values? Thank you.
Yeah, I can't recite that chapter and verse right now, but pretty much every school project that we've been involved with has made that same comment, because if you're able to have quality education, you are bringing people into the community, right? And that does have the effect of raising your home values.
Dale Guinep from Isabel Circle. I just want to make a couple points. I've been involved as an architect with municipal building and school building renovations for 25 to 30 years. I am in no way representing MSBA, but I have a great familiarity with many of their projects. I'll let others, because they've spoken about the importance of having good schools. But at $38 million, this is a very frugal solution to this problem. It obviously would be somewhat better to have a new school, but at a significantly higher cost. And so I think for the proposal that's been put forward, this is a very good solution in the most economical way the town of Rowley can achieve.
Hi, I'm Nicole Thornton. I live at 65 Emily Lane. And my question to you is, what happens to the $17 million if this ballot measure does not pass?
Ultimately, it'll stay within the MSBA program, and it will go to another community who's going out and doing the same thing.
So all I have to say is thousands of kids walk through these halls and will be in the next 10 to 15 years. And I feel like we owe it to them to provide them with a safe environment and a healthy learning environment, and we need to carry them into the 21st century. And our school cannot do that any longer.
Joe, the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and are you on? It's the building, you're the chairman of the building committee, too?
Yes.
Okay, so he's going to be our last one, and then we're going to explain the vote, and we're going to take the vote.
I just want to make one comment. The Triton Regional School District, represented by Superintendent Brian Forget, they put forth a budget this year. They allowed $50,000 for emergency repairs for the Pine Grove School. As of now, they have spent over $100,000 this year, starting last September up till today, on the school for emergency repairs.
All right, with that being said, Sue will explain the voting process. It's going to take a while for it to count.
Thank you.
We're going to move ahead with the next few articles, and I would kindly ask that there's only about 10 or 12 articles. It shouldn't take too much longer after, that you would please all stay and hang around. So here's the idea. Rip it in half. One you keep and one you put in the box. Sue will explain it to you. Well, no.
One you keep, one you put in the box. The one you're voting, you put in the box, and when you're not keeping, you put in the rubbish. But first, does everyone in this room, and I'm serious, have one ballot? Don't tell me later that you didn't get one.
Is everybody? They need my voice.
You can't hear me. Does everyone have one ballot in their hand? We were very careful passing them out. We just want to make sure we're not eliminating anyone. He's pointing to someone. Mo?
Raise your hand if you don't have one.
You were in line, weren't you, Danby?
All right, so everybody has a ballot. And I'm going to try and make this means you're in favor of this going forward. A no vote it will not pass here, but the election will still take place next Tuesday. The other thing is that we need 2/3 of the majority of the people are here. So it's not just a simple, 100 to 101. Here it's a 2/3 vote in order for it to pass tonight. All right? So we are going to try and make this a little easier with people. I think we'll try and start with the people in the back coming forward, and when you're going, then we'll just finish with the ones here in the front. I'm just trying to make it move a little easier, and then we'll bring the stage people and the finance committee, and then the ones along the wall. So if the people in the back, the ones standing in the first couple of rows, please come forward. And the black bag is for your non-voting vote. Whatever it is, that's what goes in that bucket.
Dee Dee, how many voters are here?
That's a no vote. It's Marjorie Dinsmore. Oh, yeah.
Really? That's good. Good. Yeah, they were here a couple of years ago for something. Yeah, yeah. That's good. Good vote. It's a good number.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get my dog and go fish.
You put $1.55 in the piggy bank. When you get to the end of the year, you'll be set. You don't have to worry about the taxes. Don't hide the baby.
I don't know. I saw the mother and father put votes in.
2/3.
Terminate your cable bill. They were for votes.
Drink bottled water, there's all sorts of things you can do.
That's to
2 kids and the mother and father.
put out the money. This just approves the project.
Boy, Ned Dummer's wife is getting tough.
Yeah, well,
She's really bent over.
Smaller, so what happens when it's smaller, a new building, it's just crowded. So when you tore it out a perfect, larger building. We go back to the tape and we tell them to go talk to every one of these people that said we shouldn't do it. They came in, like the school system. This went down the drain.
No.
Wonder how many people we've got here.
Sorry. Hiding from the back wasn't a bad idea, was it? How did I get that? I know, I know. I know, I know. Okay. Okay. I think so. Except for the stage, everybody has cast their vote, and I would like to move along with the next 10 articles so that we can get out of here at a reasonable time. Is there anybody else who hasn't cast their vote except for the stage here? Yes. That's what I'm saying. Sue, the stage has to vote. She's bringing it up in a minute. Everybody out there has voted? Okay, soon as they, yep. And everybody along the sidewall over here? All right, as soon as this is done, they will start counting, and as soon as we have the results, we'll let you know. So we will move on to Article 21. Everybody up here? Yep. Yes, Article 21 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to be expended by the Chief of Police for a one-time assessment fee to be paid to the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council, NEMLEC, towards the purchase of a mobile command unit.
Second.
Okay, Finance Committee on Article 21? Okay, are there any questions on Article 21? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 21 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 21 passes. Article 22 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,000 to be expended by the Chief of Police for the purpose of sending a police officer to the Police Academy in fiscal year 2018.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 22? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 22 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 22 passes. Article 23 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate $198,000 to pay costs for projects listed under Article 23 on pages 16 and 17 of the May 1st, 2017 Annual Town Meeting warrant, including the payment of all other costs incidental and related thereto, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 7 of General Laws, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town therefore. Any premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of cost issuance of such bonds or notes may be applied to the payments and costs approved by the vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the General Laws, thereby reducing the amount, excuse me, of authorized to be borrowed such, pays such costs by like amount.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 23? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 23 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 23 passes. Article 24 is in order.
Karen Summit, Town Treasurer Collector. Madam Moderator, I move that the town vote to supplement each prior vote of the town that authorizes the borrowing of money to pay costs of capital projects to provide that, in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the General Laws, the premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes thereunder, less any such premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to pay project costs, and the amount authorized to be borrowed for each such project shall be reduced by the amount of any such premium so applied.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 24? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 24 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 24 passes. Article 25 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend the denial, revocation, suspension of licenses and/or permits for failure to pay municipal charges general bylaw of the town of Rowley by deleting the words in bold strike-through and adding the words in bold italic underline in Section 1 as printed under Article 25 on pages 17 and 18 of the May 1st, 2017 Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Finance Committee? Oh, it's not recommend, no recommendation. Sorry. Okay. Any questions on Article 25? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 25 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 25 passes. Article 26 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation Fund fiscal year 2018 annual revenues the amounts recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for the community administrative expenses, debt service, community preservation projects, and other expenses, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. Appropriations: debt service for Bradstreet Farm land acquisition, $202,056.26. Debt service for the Girl Scout property, $122,850. Administration, 5%, $25,538.59. Reserve, creation in support of affordable housing, $20,768.74.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Thank you. All those in favor of this article signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article passes.
937.
Article 27 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44B, to transfer and appropriate from the Community Preservation Unreserved Account the amount of $360,000 to be used by the Board of Selectmen for costs to purchase approximately 3½ acres of land at the rear of 221 Main Street, described as a portion of Assessor's Map 25, Lot 35, to extend the town's recreational fields.
Second.
Finance Committee on Article 27.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions on Article 27? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 27 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 27 passes. Article 28 is in order.
938.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44B, to transfer and appropriate from the Community Preservation Unreserved Account the amount of $150,000 to be used by the Board of Selectmen for Phase 1 of the Town Hall Annex Elevator and Accessibility Project.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding Article 28? Yes. Forward your name and address, please.
Sonia Fincola from 61 Boxford Road. I guess my question is, what is the plan for the next phase to pay for this actual update to the annex building?
Okay.
Yeah, this project's being done in two phases. Phase 1, originally we appropriated $30,000 to have a study done, a feasibility study for the elevator at the annex over at the old Center School on Central Street. We need to make that building handicap accessible. Right now, we can only use the first floor. The elevator will allow us to use the second floor for badly needed office space, as well as access to the basement for badly needed storage space. This $150,000 will allow us to move into the next phase of the project, which will be the complete design and writing of bid specs. Once that's done, we intend to come back at a fall town meeting and ask for a further appropriation to do the actual construction. And if that's appropriated at that time, we'll be able to go out to bid right away, because all the design and architectural work will have been completed. The total cost of the project is probably going to be in the range of about $1 million. We won't know that until we get the estimates from the final design of the project. It sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Part of the problem over there is you're not only building an elevator, but you're putting an elevator into a historical structure, an old structure that's over 100 years old. That building, because of the size of the project, will have to be totally handicap accessible. So we'll have to change door handles, doorways, so on and so forth, so that when you get involved in these large money projects, similar to what we did with the school, the ADA requirements are very specific in terms of what we have to do. So we're putting the elevator in, we're making the building handicap accessible, and that'll allow for, like I say, increased office space upstairs. It'll also increase the amount of space that the Council on Aging which currently uses one large classroom over there, they'll be able to have the use of the half of the first floor. So it's going to be expensive, but that's the cost of doing business today.
I think basically the answer to your question is that we're planning on using community preservation funds.
For the cost of the elevator and the whole update? But I'm not sure, there are $1 million+ in the community preservation fund to cover the cost of that?
Each year, we get additional funds from the state and from the tax
And
bills.
what is, what reason under the community preservation fund does it
Historic.
cover? Historic preservation?
Right, because it's a historic building.
And since we are building a new safety building and perhaps building or renovating this school, has it been considered to have additional office spaces within those buildings and not spending $1 million+ on renovating another building in the town?
Number one, we can't put additional office space in the police station due to security reasons. Number two is we're trying to keep the school. The MSBA is not going to allow us to add.
I believe that was in the architect described that there would be additional space that the town may be able to use. That was my understanding
For
from his
educational
presentation.
purposes.
I
Not-
think
not
he
for
says
administrative.
educational purposes. There was a cluster, if they've taken this thing down, but there was like, we're going, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going from we're going to have 3 classrooms, and there will be like a 4th in the grouping. So if the increase in population of students, then they can create the 4th classroom. But I don't think if you're going to put an office space with 3 classes of first graders or 3 classes of 4th graders. Is that a fact or an assumption?
No, in other words, the school runs into the same situation. One of the reasons why, when the renovation project, when the architect went through, is we have to put security doors and security systems into the school building. So that means we can't have members of the general public just wandering in or wandering out of office space, et cetera. It's just, you're mixing apples with oranges, and we have the building available there. It's a historic building which we want to use, and we want to make it accessible. And, you know, it's an asset that we have, and we need to use it. I'm sorry it's going to cost that much money, but that's the cost of doing business in today's world with the rules and regulations we live under.
Are there any other questions on Article 28? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 28 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 8 passes. Article 29 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend the shellfish bylaw of the general bylaws of the town of Rowley by inserting a new section 2.5.1 to read as follows. 2.5.1, persons holding a commercial shellfish permit from any other municipality are prohibited from obtaining a Rowley shellfish non-commercial permit.
Second.
And there's no recommendation for the Finance Committee. Are there any questions regarding this article? Seeing none, all those in favor of this article signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 29 passes. Article 30 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 to the Other Post-Employment Benefits Trust.
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends this article.
are there any questions on Article 30? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 30 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 30 passes. Article 31 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to the stabilization fund.
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends.
are there any questions on this? All those in favor of Article 30? What are we on, 30? 31, sorry. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 31 passes. Before we start Article 32, I have been asked by the library just to let you know that the Rowley Public Library on Main Street on Thursday, May 4th, this Thursday at 7 p.m., will be having a chance for everyone here to meet the candidates running for any of the elected positions, Selectmen, School Committee, and Water or Light Board. Voters will be also able to hear about their ideas for the town and have a chance to ask questions. So this was just as a public service notice that the library this year is going to do a candidates night, which they haven't done for a couple of years. With that being said, Article 32, and once that is done, Sue will read the results and we can adjourn. So Article 32 is in order?
Madam Moderator, I move to meet in St. Mary's Church in the rear on Route 1A in said Rowley on Tuesday, May 9th, 2017, at 12 noon to act on the items listed under Article 32 on page 20 of the annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Okay, Article 32 has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 32 passes. Article 20. There were cast 323 votes. We needed a two-thirds majority. There were 287 yes and 36 noes. It passes. I need a motion to adjourn, and I would like to please ask, just to help the janitors, that if you, when you get up, fold up your chairs, and the racks are in the back, and you can then put your chair in and go out the door. But first, I need a motion to adjourn. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
And seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're done.